This is the update to the Gaycation story. When I last posted, I contacted my husband to tell him he wouldn't be staying at home that night and a bag would be waiting for him. As you can imagine, we argued. Quite badly. I won't get into the specific details, but no, I'm 100% on board with the fact that at a minimum he's bi, might even be gay altogether. We've had arguments in the past, but I've genuinely never seen him have such a childish tantrum before, screaming about how I just don't understand the Gaycation, and insinuating I'm actually homophobic because I refuse to allow him to participate in this cultural exchange with the gay community. A lot of you said to ask him if it'd be acceptable if the roles were in reverse. And I did say, would it be acceptable if I went and slept with other guys during that week? Like clockwork, he got very angry and offended, saying it's completely different because a gaycation means nothing, and what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation, etc. So it doesn't actually count. Whereas you, if you went on this week-long excursion, would be just straight up cheating. Well, I turned it around on him and I said, no, but you see, what happens in Manchester stays in Manchester. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't count. It's like bird watching. And I think it got through to him. He went all quiet and then started crying, admitting the thought of me sleeping with another man is destroying his heart, but relationships need sacrifices. So he agreed, while in tears, that when he goes on the vacation, I'll get 1 week in Manchester to do whatever the heck I want. He doesn't want me to, but it's fair in a twisted way, he supposed. I told him to get out of my house. About an hour later, I got rang up by his mom, who just screamed and screamed at me about being a cheating dog, how I was horrible, what about the kids, etc. When I finally got my composure back, I just said, ask your son about the gaycation. Obviously, at first she got angry, but then I just said, no, just ask him about the gaycation. He'll explain everything. But she called me a joke and hung up. Later on, getting into the evening, got another phone call from her in floods of tears. She was very apologetic, and I told her she doesn't need to be the one to apologize. She was so upset she put my father-in-law on the phone, who, while he sounded calm, I could just sort of tell he was on the warpath. Again, very apologetic, and said he overheard that phrase, asked my husband, and husband initially said, no, it's nothing, before explaining how it's a modern thing men do, etc. Father-in-law just said they told him to leave or they'd call the police. Don't care where he goes, but he wasn't staying there. Husband tried to call me while I was on the phone, but I just ignored it, and father-in-law just said that he was so sorry for me and they have my corner in this, so that's one thing, I guess. I told them to be there for their daughter because it sounds like the brother-in-law is involved as well. It turns out my husband didn't tell them that yet. And father-in-law just said he had to go because he was so angry. Got a text from my husband after that phone call, which was all weirdly rambly, saying how I'd abused the gaycation to destroy his marriage and destroy his life, and again insinuated I and his parents were homophobic for doing such a thing.
Hey, if you like that story, go head over to wherever you listen to podcasts or YouTube